Take a look at what happened.
On the stage is a former president of the United States of America. In front of him is a huge crowd of supporters. All around him is a phalanx of security personnel. And just 150 meters away is a would-be murderer, ready with a gun and a clear line of sight to his target. This is how Donald Trump's attempted assassination unfolded on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Raising huge questions about the U.S. Secret Service, the agency responsible for protecting America's top VIPs, including the president. So, what were the faults which led to Trump almost being murdered? Who committed these mistakes? And who will bear the responsibility for this scary breach? Watch this edition of Hindustan Times In-Depth to find out. Before we go into the security arrangement and apparent lapses, let's first look at the Secret Service and its history. The Secret Service is one of the oldest federal investigative law enforcement agencies globally. It was founded in 1865 to combat counterfeiting of U.S. currency. But its role changed after the assassination of then-President McKinley in 1901. Before McKinley, Presidents Lincoln and Garfield were killed in 1865 and 1881, respectively. In 1902, the Secret Service assumed full responsibility for protecting the president. The U.S. Secret Service works under the Department of Homeland Security and has 3,200 special agents, 1,300 uniformed officers, and 2,000 other personnel in its employment. The Secret Service protects not just the president, but many other high-ranking constitutional office holders. Its mandate is also to protect the vice president, the president-elect, and their immediate families. Former presidents, their spouses, and children until age 16 are also protected by the Secret Service. In election season, major presidential and vice presidential candidates and spouses are protected by the agency. This security is accorded within 120 days of the presidential election. But not all candidates get security, as per reports. They're chosen by the Homeland Security Secretary and a committee. Presidential candidates only started getting Secret Service protection after the murder of Robert Kennedy in 1968, who was in the running for the Democratic Party ticket. Now, let's take a look at the kind of security deployed at Trump's Pennsylvania rally. The Secret Service must have been the main agency to manage security for Trump's election rally on July 13th. But this does not mean that the security service manned every point and that every security personnel at the event belonged to the agency. A former FBI agent spoke to the War Zone news outlet about the security preparations. He said that the security service was responsible for coordinating with state, local, or another federal agency if it didn't have enough manpower. The former FBI agent said that state or local law enforcement officers would have been the most likely candidates to patrol rooftops like the one used by the shooter. But responsibility to have vulnerable points covered lies with the Secret Service, according to the retired agent. There were also 4 counter-sniper teams at the site, 2 from Secret Service and 2 from local law enforcement. One of these snipers killed the shooter after Trump was attacked. Even if the Secret Service and other agencies failed to secure the rooftop, they still had plenty of warning signs, as per reports. First, the shooter was spotted by local law enforcement, who thought he was acting suspiciously, as per a CNN report. This information was passed on to other officers and even the Secret Service. Second, many members of the audience later said they had spotted the shooter on the roof and alerted security personnel.
I was up at the fence line, saw the guy move from roof to roof, told an officer that he was on the roof. The officer come looking, I went back to where I was standing, heard that there was somebody that could see the person, so I went back to where they were standing, saw the person, went back and told the officer again that if he goes back to that particular spot, he can see the person, figuring that he would go in radio. And when I turned around to go back to where I was is when the gunshots started, and then it was just chaos and we all came running away. And
when I was sitting there, a guy said, "Oh God, he had a gun." I looked up, there's a guy on top of the building right over there with an M16 with a blanket pointing at the president. He starts shooting. Bow, 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 bow. About 4 to 5 shots rang out. All right, so I throw the guy I'm with, Jim, onto the ground. I jump to the ground. I look up. and then I see his head get split open by the shot from the Secret Service. All the cops started flying over, pushing us out. They pushed me off to the side because I was right there and I was able to see everything. They took my name, my witness support, and everything like that, my cell phone number, just to get in touch with me to go over what happened.
Third, and even more worryingly, a local police officer even climbed to the roof and confronted the shooter before he attacked Trump. This was reported by news agency Associated Press. The shooter reportedly pointed his gun at the police officer and made him climb back down, before firing towards Trump. All of this has raised several questions for the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies deployed at the rally. The first, and obvious, question is, why was a building so close to Trump's stage left unattended? Reports say that the building was outside the security perimeter. So the second question is, why is a former president's security circle so small that vulnerable points in such proximity are left unguarded? Third, even if the Secret Service decided to leave the building unchecked, why were barricades not erected near the stage to block line of sight from the rooftop? Fourth, how did the shooter manage to gain access to the building and reach its roof without any hindrance? Fifth, if the shooter was tagged suspicious by local law enforcement, why was closer attention not paid to him? Sixth, why did the Secret Service and others not swing into large-scale action when audience members pointed out that an armed man was on the roof? Seventh, why did a lone police officer go to the rooftop to confront the shooter instead of a team? To their credit, the officers near Trump did throw themselves into the line of fire and shielded the former president with their bodies. But instead of explaining the lapses, the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, reportedly sent out a memo praising agents at the rally. The officers were lauded for moving quickly and neutralizing the threat, according to the New York Times. Even President Joe Biden praised the security agencies in his first reaction to the attack on Trump.
Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience.
Donald Trump, too, had a message for the Secret Service after he underwent treatment for the bullet injury in his ear. Trump said, quote, "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response to the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country." Unquote. Meanwhile, a blame game has reportedly erupted between the Secret Service and local agencies over who failed to stop the shooter. The Secret Service has reportedly blamed local law enforcement agencies for not securing the rooftop. The Secret Service said that the rooftop was outside its security perimeter. The agency claimed that its job was to only secure the grounds where the rally was held. Local police were asked to secure the area outside the rally grounds, as per the Secret Service. Amidst all this, a fresh storm hit the Secret Service in the form of a rumor that the agency had denied requests from Trump's team for more security. In response, the agency's spokesperson said, quote, "There's an untrue assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security resources and that those were rebuffed. This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo." Unquote. So what comes next? President Biden said he ordered an independent review of the security at the rally to assess exactly what happened. Biden also promised to share the results of the review publicly. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, is the lead agency investigating the attempted assassination. But security lapses will be looked into by the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Congress, as per CNN. Many lawmakers, from both Trump's Republican and Biden's Democrat Party, are seeking answers. The Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives said he will hold a full investigation. House Intelligence Chairman Mike Turner told CNN that there was a failure of the overall broader net, and that Congress had oversight, scrutiny, and responsibility. House Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green spoke with Secret Service Chief Cheadle, as per reports. Cheadle promised to give requested documents to the committee promptly. House Oversight Chairman James Comer has asked the Secret Service for a briefing and wants Cheadle to appear for a hearing. On the legislative front, Democratic Representative Richie Torres and his Republican peer Mike Lawler reportedly said they're working on a bill that would give enhanced protection to Trump, Biden, and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Meanwhile, Democratic Representative Ruben Gallego wrote to Secret Service chief alleging security failure at the highest level, not seen since the attempted assassination of President Reagan. Surprisingly, this is not the first time in recent years that the Secret Service is in the dock for security lapses. In May 2023, an intruder got into the house of White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Sullivan did not suffer any harm. On January 6, 2021, the day of riots at Capitol Hill, a pipe bomb was planted outside the Democratic National Headquarters. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris was there and evacuated only after the pipe bomb was found over an hour and a half after her arrival, as per CNN. Despite being one of the most powerful nations in the world, the U.S. is infamous for failing to keep its political leaders safe. The country is also currently witnessing deep political divisions. These were visible even in the aftermath of the attack on Trump, with both the sides accusing each other of hatching conspiracies. In such a situation, the role of an agency like the Secret Service may extend beyond just keeping an individual safe. Instead, the Secret Service's job has ramifications for maintenance of socio-political cohesion. Therefore, lapses like the ones seen at Trump's rally need to be addressed and fixed, especially as Election Day draws closer and the political temperature spikes.